The average new electric SUV in America is now pushing past $60,000. The average EV payment? Over $800 a month. And right now, EV owners are trading in vehicles that are 3 years old for less than a third of what they paid. Faster depreciation than any gas SUV has ever seen. That's not a market. That's a fire sale. But here's what dealers and automakers don't want you thinking about. For a fraction of the price of a new electric SUV, some for less than a used Honda Civic, you can buy an EV that's already taken its depreciation beating. One where someone else already paid for the battery anxiety, the software bugs, and the resale panic. I found 11 of them. Real vehicles, real model years, real market prices. And every single one of these has a track record that most 2026 EVs can only dream about. Let's get into it. Number 11. Nissan Leaf SV Plus, 2019 to 2020. Pay attention to the trim here, not just the year. The base Leaf's 40 kilowatt-hour battery is fine around town, but the SV Plus brought a 62 kilowatt-hour pack and 226 miles of range, enough to actually live with. One honest caveat: Nissan never gave the Leaf active liquid cooling for its battery. In hot climates, that means faster degradation. In anywhere with a real winter, it's a non-issue. And the trade-off is a shockingly simple, bulletproof drivetrain. One motor, one gear, almost nothing to fail. Consumer Reports has ranked the Leaf near the top of EV reliability for years running. And the interior? Basic, but everything works exactly the way it did on day one. A 62 kilowatt-hour Leaf that costs $38,000 new is sitting at $11,000 to $14,000 today. That's the cheapest real entry into EV ownership that exists. Number 10. Kia Niro EV, 2019 to 2021. This is the car EV shoppers overlook because it doesn't look like a statement. Good, that's exactly why it's cheap. Under the skin is a 64 kilowatt-hour battery with active liquid thermal management, the same core EV powertrain Kia and Hyundai have used across multiple models, with a strong track record. No drama, no over-the-air surprises, just a hatchback-shaped crossover that quietly does 239 miles on a charge. JD Power and Consumer Reports both rank this powertrain generation well above the EV average for dependability. And unlike flashier rivals, resale collapsed hard here simply because nobody asked for it, which is your opening. $14,000 to $18,000 for one of the most mechanically sound EVs on the used market.
Number 9. Hyundai Kona Electric, 2020 to 2021. The years matter enormously here. The 2019 Kona Electric was tied to a battery fire recall that led Hyundai to replace battery packs on early units. Skip 2019 entirely. 2020 and later cars either left the factory with the corrected battery or already had it swapped under recall, meaning you may be buying a Kona Electric with a battery that's newer than the car itself. Same 64 kilowatt-hour pack, same 258-mile range, same simple single-motor layout as the Niro EV above. Hyundai's EV powertrain warranty transfers to second owners, so a well-documented 2020 could still be riding on factory coverage. $13,000 to $17,000 for a small SUV with genuinely excellent real-world range and a battery that, in a strange twist, might be the newest part on the car. Number 8. Chevrolet Bolt EUV, 2022 to 2023. This one's on the list for a very specific reason: the infamous Bolt battery recall. GM eventually replaced every affected pack with an updated, safer chemistry, free of charge to owners. That means a well-documented, recall-completed Bolt EUV isn't a car to be scared of. It's a car with a brand new battery, installed by a dealer at no cost to anyone but GM. 247 miles of range, a genuinely spacious cabin for the vehicle's size, and one of the simplest EV drivetrains on sale. The recall scared buyers away and crushed resale value, which is exactly why these are sitting at $16,000 to $20,000 for a crossover that started at $34,000 new, with a battery pack that's arguably better than the one it left the factory with. Number 7. Ford Mustang Mach-E, 2021 to 2022. Skip the early software headaches of the very first production run and go straight to a 2021 or 2022 with the updated infotainment build.
The standard extended range battery gives you 270 plus miles, and the rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive versions both use a conventional, well-proven permanent magnet motor setup. Nothing exotic, nothing experimental. Ford's warranty on the battery and drive unit runs 8 years or 100,000 miles, and a documented used one still carries real coverage. The styling doesn't scream budget EV, which is exactly the point. A vehicle that stickered near $50,000 in premium trim now sits at $19,000 to $24,000.
Number 6. Volvo XC40 Recharge, 2021 to 2022. Volvo builds this thing like Volvo builds everything. Over-engineered safety structure wrapped around a genuinely competent EV powertrain shared with the Polestar 2. Dual motor, all-wheel drive standard, 78 kilowatt-hour battery, and a 5-star safety pedigree that no budget EV on this list can match. The interior materials embarrass cars costing twice as much used. The catch that works in your favor? Volvo's EV resale collapsed almost as hard as luxury German rivals, despite a far more boring, far more reliable drivetrain underneath. $21,000 to $26,000 for a vehicle that stickered north of $55,000 new. All-wheel drive luxury safety for compact SUV money. Number 5. Volkswagen ID.4, 2021 to 2022. Skip the very first ID.4s built overseas in late 2020. Early software glitches were real. The 2021 model year cars sold in the US, built once VW ramped up domestic production, ironed most of it out. Rear motor, single-speed, 82 kilowatt-hour battery, 250 plus miles of range, and a drivetrain that's mechanically about as simple as EVs get. VW backs the battery for 8 years or 100,000 miles. The interior is where VW's German engineering actually shows up. Tight panel gaps, real switchgear feel, nothing that rattles. A vehicle that started around $43,000 is now $17,000 to $22,000. Modern EV tech without the EV tax price tag. Number 4. Tesla Model Y Long Range, 2020 to 2021. Say what you want about the brand. The drivetrain in these early Model Ys has racked up hundreds of millions of real-world miles, and the permanent magnet motors themselves are proving remarkably durable. The real weak points on early builds were panel gaps and paint. Cosmetic, not mechanical. Range sits around 300 plus miles, and Tesla's supercharger network access alone changes the ownership experience compared to everything else on this list. Depreciation on these has been brutal. Software-defined price cuts on new Model Ys crushed used values almost overnight, which is exactly why an early long range now sits at $21,000 to $27,000 for a vehicle that stickered near $52,000 new. Number 3. Audi e-tron, 2019 to 2021. This is the car that quietly proved a legacy luxury brand could build a competent EV, and then got punished for it in resale value anyway. Dual motor all-wheel drive standard, real leather, real switchgear, and the most conservative EV engineering philosophy of any car on this list. Audi under-promised on range specifically so the battery would never be pushed to its limits. The trade-off? Modest range, around 220 miles, for outsized long-term battery health. Audi's drivetrain warranty runs 8 years or 100,000 miles, and a documented example can still carry real coverage today. An SUV that started at $74,800 now sits at $19,000 to $24,000. Full luxury, near 70% off. Number 2. Tesla Model X, 2016 to 2018. Stick to 2018 and later here. Earlier builds are tied to more Falcon Wing door sensor issues and early production quality complaints. By 2018, most of that was sorted. Dual motor all-wheel drive, 3-row seating no other EV on this list offers, and a drivetrain that's now proven itself over the better part of a decade, with owners regularly reporting well past 150,000 miles on the original motors. The battery itself degrades gracefully. Most owners report retaining 85 to 90% of original capacity, even at high mileage. A vehicle that stickered north of $80,000 new, sometimes well past $100,000 with options, is sitting at $23,000 to $29,000 today, the most house-sized depreciation on this entire list. Number 1. Jaguar I-Pace, 2019 to 2020. Here's the one that inspired this whole video. Heads up on the years. The earliest 2019 first edition cars are the ones to chase, since Jaguar didn't meaningfully change the drivetrain across this generation.
What changed was everyone's confidence in the brand. Under the skin, this is a genuinely serious performance EV. 90 kilowatt-hour battery, dual permanent magnet motors, all-wheel drive, and a chassis Jaguar Land Rover engineered from scratch specifically as an EV, not a converted gas platform. The motors and battery pack itself have a solid reliability record. The real weak points have been 12-volt batteries, infotainment glitches, and JLR's traditionally spotty dealer support. Annoying, but not what makes the drivetrain unreliable. None of that stopped the market from panicking. Jaguar's brand reputation for reliability, combined with real EV resale fear, created one of the single steepest depreciation curves of any vehicle sold in the last decade. The original owner paid $69,500 to $86,000 for this SUV. Today, a documented, well-maintained I-Pace can be found for $9,000 to $14,500. That's an SUV that's stickered at nearly $70,000 with a genuinely capable dual-motor performance drivetrain for less than a 10-year-old Honda Civic costs. While the average new EV payment sits at $800 a month for something that will be worth a third of that in 3 years. That's not just the best electric SUV under $10,000, that might be the single steepest depreciation curve and the single best value in the entire used car market right now. If you found this useful, subscribe and check out my other videos on the screen right now.